So the story I want to tell today while I do this, I'm tell you about the first time at my last job when I realized, oh, they don't really care about nothing for real. HR really don't want to do their job. That's when I realized, like, oh, I probably shouldn't even be working in this motherfucker for real. Like, that's when I was like, it was this situation that made me be like, oh, I gotta get out of here. I started my HR job. I started my last HR position at this Christian chicken joint. And if you know, you know. You know, you know. I started here in July, on July 8th. And I needed a job. It was the reason I even started here. And that's going to be a whole nother video. The reason I even started this job, my last position was teaching. I've done HR work before. And it was cool. I liked it. And then I ended up teaching. And so now I'm back in HR. This happened in August, I do believe. I really need to like write out my timeline. But this happened in August. And so I am still the newbie, but I'm making relations. I'm making relationships. I'm not crossing boundaries because, again, I'm HR. I can't be nobody's friend, actually. And at the end of the day, I do have to go based off the policy. Even when I think the policy is stupid, which we'll get into that more. But the characters. My direct supervisor, her name is Miss Harper. That is the HR director. People don't really like this bitch for real. Other executives like her because people don't really like them either. But she's not really a great person. At the time, hear me when I say this. At the time, I'm like, okay, she's cool. I'm not saying me and her are besties, but I am saying that she and I have a relationship outside of work prior to this job. The relationship or the connection, the correlation, the connection. My boyfriend and her were friends before I got this job. One of the first things she was like, well, I know you said that Elle is moving to Atlanta, and you know if she's still looking for a job. I have an HR assistant role that's still open that I need to fill like soon. Get the app in, whatever, and I can say all this now. But yeah, she's like, get the app in, do this, this, and this, and let me know. Like, let me know when it's done. So I'm also making it a Biscoff crust instead of graham cracker. We have Mr. Bradley. That is our top leader at our store. He's the person, he got the final saying schedules, paycheck. Like, he is right under our big boss, right under the owner. And we have Marcus. Marcus is a coworker. He is in leadership. And funny, like, so oddly enough, he was up for my position before I came interviewed and got my position. So, which at the time I don't know. By this story, I know, but I didn't start out knowing that. And then there's Lena, who in all of this, she's also leadership, but let's not forget, she is, I don't want to say the victim, but she's the victim in this. I would sit out in the lobby of this restaurant and I would be in the front. I was accessible. People could find me. People knew where I was sitting. And if I wasn't sitting there, they was gonna see me wherever I moved to. So as HR, my job is to be accessible. So I'm sitting out there and Marcus comes to me. I'm on my computer, baby. I'm just typing away. I'm doing my job. And Marcus comes and sits next to me and he was like, which Marcus coming to sit next to me is a normal thing. He would get off 2 hours earlier than I would get off of work. And so when he would leave, he would come and talk to me for a little bit. He would download me on everything that happened in his department. And then he'd go on about his day. There's another story where he downloaded me on some shit. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know. Gotta act on it. That's another story for another day. So keep in mind, he gets off 2 hours earlier than me. That means he gets to work 2 hours earlier than me. They were openers. I came 2 hours after opening because I'm not about to be here that early. But I will still be there early. Also, I came from education, so me being up early is not an issue. But here, being HR, being in an HR leadership position, I was able to choose my own schedule. But that's what's not the point. So, no, he comes to me on a Monday. Okay? Marcus tells me this Monday. It might have been right before he was about to get off. So he wasn't even off the clock yet. He comes to me and he goes, "Have you talked to Lena?" And I was like, "About what?" Because what scared me was, are you about to say Lena is about to quit? Because she's one of our top leaders. She's worked at other restaurants before. She's worked at other restaurants like ours before. She has so much knowledge. I don't want to lose her, if that's what you're saying. And he was like, "No, it's not that." He was like, "You just need to talk to her." And I said, "About what?" He was like, "About the conversations that Bradley has with her." And I was like, "What is he saying to her?" And he was like, I think it would be much better if you just talk to her." And I said, "Oh." I was like, "Can you give me a little inkling? Just a little warning? Like a little taste, like a little disclaimer?" And he was like, "Just Bradley don't know that we not friends with him like that." It was like, "Bradley just don't realize we not cool like that. Like we not friends like that. And he don't understand boundaries." I said, "Oh my God." Now, Marcus, he's gay. I think he claims bisexuality, but actually, no, I won't put bisexuality on him. I do. He's queer. He's queer. 100% queer. I can't tell you what he is for real, but he's queer for sure. And Lena is gay. That is a lesbian woman. Okay? She can't stand niggas. And honestly, me either, but I love my man. So, next day, I asked her. Next day being Tuesday. I pulled her to the side that morning. And I was like, "Hey, let me ask you about your conversations with Bradley." I was like, what's up with that? What's that about?" And she was like, "Well, really, he asks me inappropriate questions. He asks me like if I'm the man in the relationship. He asked me," and I'm paraphrasing because it was a lot more detail. She was like, "When I'm on the phone with my girlfriend, he'd be like, 'Oh, you on the phone with Babe? Hey, Babe, what you doing?' During Pride, he was like, 'Hey, what you doing for Pride?' And it's like, she felt like, my nigga, we not cool like that for you to just be asking me stuff like that." And it makes her uncomfortable because she don't be talking about her personal life at work. It's work. Like, we talk, and to think that people don't have conversations at work is crazy. We're gonna talk. But I don't think anybody outside of him had asked such a personally invasive question. And also, let me just say, Bradley is gay. But we can see it. And when I say we can see it, like, I knew he was the first time I saw him. Also, let me just say, when Marcus came and told me this, it wasn't gossip. His tone was concerned. My tone was concerned. I immediately knew I had to do something. I had to spring into action. I had to step in and do something. And she was very hesitant to talk to me at first. Like, she was hesitant to tell me what happened. I was like, "This is harassment. This is inappropriate." Let me just say, there also was no point where I was torn on what to do. I immediately knew I needed to follow the procedure. I needed to let my director know. We have a standing meeting every Friday. It's like a check-in meeting. And so this week in particular, we ended up having the meeting on Thursday instead of Friday. I can't remember one of us. I believe she was unavailable that Friday. So we had to do it on Thursday. On Wednesday, mind you, Monday, Marcus comes to me. Tuesday, I go to Lena And I said, okay, everything you just said to me verbally, can you put that in an email? Like, can you make some time to put it in an email? Let me know when you send it. Let me know when you're about to send it or whatever. I got it from here. We're going to talk to you whenever we need to. Cool. We're at a good spot, right? So that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I'm walking through the fucking restaurant. Cool. I'm walking through. I see one of our regulars. When I say our regular, Mr. Ellis come in every single day. Every day. Every day. That man is there. Okay? I mean breakfast and lunch. Sometimes dinner, but it's no question about breakfast and lunch. This man is here. So, Mr. Ellis comes and he lets me know. He stops me. I'm walking back. He was like, hey, Elle, you're beautiful. Love that dress. I'm like, thank you. Now, Mr. Ellis, he is an old white gay man. Okay? Also, everybody else in this story, black. Everybody that works in my restaurant, black or Hispanic. But I don't think any of my stories really involve any Hispanic team members. He was like, hey, I just want to, can I talk to you for a second? And I was like, sure. And he was like, what's going on? Or he was like, I don't think I like Bradley. And I was like, okay. He was like, Lena is different when he's around. And I said, oh. He was like, Lena is not the same when he's around. She gets nervous. He was like, she fumbles with things. She drops things. She gets clumsy when he come around. And I was like, oh. He was like, so I need you to address it. He was like, if you don't address it, you let me know who I need to address it for. And who I need to address it with. And I was like, okay, hold on. I was like, I really appreciate you letting me know this. Thank you. I was like, can you give me some examples other than her fumbling with things? He was like, whenever he comes around, it's just awkward. It's weird. I hate when he comes around. And mind you, Mr. Ellis has lived on this street, on this block, probably longer than I've been alive. He's traveled, but he knows this area. He knows what our restaurant used to be. He's seen all the other iterations of what our location used to be. He been here. He been New Bradley. And he said, I don't like that young man. Never liked him. And I was like, okay. And he was like, thank you, Elle. You're a doll. And I was like, thank you. He's super sweet. I love him. That's that. Now I've had two completely separate occasions where somebody has let me know that Bradley is on bullshit. It's affecting Lena in some type of way, whether they experienced it directly or not. So Mr. Ellis might not have seen him say nothing crazy, but he knows that the energy changes when Bradley comes around. Marcus says that he heard some, but he knows that there were other instances that he was unaware of, and he could tell that Lena was uncomfortable. Now, also what I forgot to mention with Mr. Ellis was he also mentioned, he was like, but I know the other HR lady and Bradley are really cool. He's like, I know they're good friends, so I don't know if I should tell you or her. And I was like, thank you for letting me know. I got you. That's also something to take into consideration. These people are really good friends. Bradley and Harper are besties. They say it themselves. They don't understand boundaries either, but it's something that they preach. We're going to get to that in a second. I told y'all we had the meeting earlier that week. So instead of it being on Friday, we had the meeting that Thursday. So we're sitting in the office. We're going through everything. And she's like, anything else you need to tell me, or anything else you have questions about, or anything, whatever. Last check-in for this meeting. And I was like, yes, actually, I do have something to say. I was like, so I told you everything that I told you, I told to her in that exact same way. I was like, Marcus came to me and was like, go talk to Lena. I go talk to Lena. After I talk to Lena, Mr. Ellis is now coming to tell me what he has seen and witnessed. So I'm telling her all of this. Now, let me just say that when I told Miss Harper this, she was like, it wasn't like a, what? It was a, oh, not this again. She didn't say not this again, but her expression, her mannerisms, the way she even rolled her eyes was like, this shit is all too familiar. And basically, I thought we figured this out already. That was when I first realized, wait, what's the real reaction here? So, and she was like, okay, thanks for letting me know. And she was like, now what day did you find out? I was like, when did you find out? And I was like, Mark, I told her the timeline. And she was like, okay, I'll talk to the franchisee. We got to give him a name. We're going to call him Mr. Caldwell. Mr. Caldwell, because it's a nigga in real life I know who last name Caldwell. Fuck him. So Mr. Caldwell, she was like, I got to talk to Mr. Caldwell. I'm going to see what he wants to do. But also, let me not call him that. She was like, let me talk to Jamal. Because we call him by his first name. She was like, let me talk to Jamal and see how he wants to go about this. I said, okay, cool. And so then she asked me to put everything that I said in writing in an email. And I said, okay, cool. Because again, if it's not an email, it didn't happen. Emails or it didn't happen. You have to document everything. And you have to document everything regardless of the job. That's HR, that's education. Any job, every job, you need a paper trail. There always needs to be a paper trail. So I started drafting it, and I realized I never even sent the email. I drafted it. I started doing something else in the restaurant. I got distracted. And so, yeah. Let's say that was around noon. At 2 o'clock on this Thursday, remember I told you, Marcus leaves 2 hours before me. So does Lena. She leaves 2 hours before I'm done as well. Because they're both openers. Marcus comes and he was like, I don't know what they want to meet about. Shit. I was like, I don't know what they want to meet about either. Obviously nothing's on my calendar, so I have no clue. They asked, so then Miss Harper comes to me. I'm sitting out in the lobby, working hard, doing my job, right? And she comes and she was like, hey, we're talking to some leaders right now. If we don't finish with them before 4 o'clock, which is the time I was getting off. She's like, if we don't finish with them before 4 o'clock, can you stay a few minutes so that we can talk to you? We're talking to most of leadership today. We have like leadership meetings. And I was like, probably not. I'm not staying past 4 o'clock. Because they're also asking people to clock out and then come to this meeting. And what you got me is fucked up, huh? Not doing that shit for free. I don't want to come up in there already, no way. So Lena goes in, has her meeting. I don't even realize Lena's in there. There was a fourth person. So she was like, we're going to meet with most leadership. And whoever we don't get to today, we're going to get to them tomorrow. So while all the meetings today, on this day, were leadership, it was only 3 leaders. And there's at least 8. There's 7 or 8 leaders in this building. And that's not even including executives. And I know that they wouldn't be having executive meetings at the restaurant. They would do that at the offsite office. When she said most, and I only knew of 4 people being asked, she talked to 3 of us that day. The 4th person that they were going to talk to was like, no, I'm not staying past work. I'm not staying past 2 o'clock because I got to go pick up my daughter. Also, if y'all wanted me to stay after work and talk to y'all should have told me that at the start of my shift, that y'all wanted me to stay later. The fuck? Like, and I felt that exact same way because I had 2 more hours left to work when they started these meetings. But no, I'm not staying past 4. Because what? And again, they will tell you to clock out, then come sit in the office for a meeting where they talk to you for like an hour. Talk to you for an hour, talk at you for 2 hours. Marcus is second in line. Lena went And then she came out, she talked to a few people, and then she left. She didn't even come say nothing to me because, again, well, like, it's not customary for her to come and talk to me after. It is customary for Marcus to come and talk to me. When Marcus finishes with his meeting, he walks out of the door. He doesn't even look in my direction. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck are we talking about in that meeting? Also, I was like, did they fire him? Did they suspend him? Why did he leave so abrupt? Like, he beeline to that door. So then Miss Harper comes and grabs me, and she brings me in to the meeting. When I walked into the meeting, I sit and we're talking. They have small talk, and it's weird because, bitch, we're not sitting in here to have small talk. Like, we're not sitting in here to just catch up person. They're asking these detective type questions, but I'm like, what are you asking? And I asked, I was like, okay. I was like, what are you asking me? So this bitch comes out right her white lady ass mouth, because this bitch is biracial, but she know what side she wants to be on. She was like, if I asked you not to speak to Marcus ever again, could you do that? How is you cool? Huh? You just asked me to not speak to somebody that works under me, who I have to be HR for. You just asked me, bitch. Because here's the thing. At the very least, I walk in that building and I speak to every single person in that building. So you're telling me I can never speak to them? I can't say good morning to this boy no more. I can't say, hey, Marcus, nice to see you. I can't say none of that no more because you're uncomfortable. It became extreme, like the entire demeanor, the whole atmosphere shifted. It was clear that she was going to protect Bradley over Lena, but it was so fucked up. Hold on, let me put this in the oven. Okay, we're gonna set that bad boy for 30 minutes. And then I'm actually gonna take y'all outside. I'm gonna finish telling y'all a story outside. Hold on. Hi guys. Okay, so I'm doing something, so I'm gonna be looking down a lot, but y'all are gonna hear me clearly. I'm also mic'd up because I'm outside and niggas is moving around. So last thing I said was, this bitch Miss Harper was like, if I asked you not to speak to Marcus again, would you be able to? And I said, I honestly, y'all, stopped. I was so dumbfounded by that fucking question. I could not believe that bitch asked me nothing like that. That was crazy to me. I looked at her, blinked no less than 3 times. I looked at Bradley, I blinked no less than 3 times. And so before I finally started to say something, she tried to like jump in and say something. And I said, I was like, if I absolutely had to, maybe, I said, but I'm HR and he is a leader who works under me. But even if he wasn't a leader, he's just a team member, I have to communicate with him. Like, ho, is you cool? I have to talk to this nigga. Like, huh? So Bradley goes on to say, well, the reason we feel that way is because we don't think that Marcus is talking to you. We don't think that it's a constructive conversation when you all talk. Well, bitch, you never heard our conversation, so you wouldn't know that. He said, I don't want to, tell you who to be friends with. And I said, well, he's not my friend. I'm HR and I didn't say this part, but I'm HR and I do know how to keep boundaries. He does not. And if I can't write him up, suspend, like that's the thing. You have to have so many things in order. You have to do so many things before you get to a certain disciplinary point. So I can say, hey, here at work, do this. But he's crossed boundaries this entire time I've known him. I started in July. This happened in August. Not one time have I ever really known him to do no funny shit to me. But also, even when he came and told me this information, that was so serious. Like, that was the most serious conversation he and I have ever had. From that point before, from that point on. So I was like, I went on ahead and I was like, that's unrealistic to ask me to not speak to him again. If you're asking me not to have personal conversations with him, cool. I was like, but he doesn't know anything about my personal life. None of you niggas at this job know anything about my personal life. And that shit is not a mistake. It's by design. I blocked everybody at this place when I started. From my director down to team members that I was able to find. Everybody got blocked on social media. On as many social media sites as I could find them on, they got blocked. I do not play that fringe shit at work when I'm HR. I take HR very seriously. And if I'm in an HR position, I take that shit extremely seriously. In college, I literally had to put my friend on a PIP. And then I had to fire my friend after the PIP. It wasn't connected to her ultimately being fired, but I gave that girl a PIP and then we went to Taco Tuesday after. And it did not affect us at work. I did have to hand down her the decision to separate to part ways, but that was totally unrelated. So Bradley's like, he was like, when he's telling you these things, like downloading you on the day, is he being messy? Is he like spilling tea? I was like, no, not necessarily. It doesn't feel like it. And yeah, I was like, that's unrealistic to expect me not to talk to him. That's kind of crazy. So then we go on with the conversation. She was like, well, she basically paints it as gossip, as hearsay. And I was like, that's crazy. I was just so dumbfounded. Like, even in the meeting, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm not giving them even too much energy because, bitch, she's so motherfucking male-centered, even for a gay nigga. She's so male-centered that she would always choose to protect a man over a woman. That's when I learned that about her. Now, male-centered women are some of the most dangerous women. Because if they will sit up there and prioritize a man over themselves, any woman that prioritizes a man over themselves will 100% dog you out for a man. Whether they in a relationship with this man, whether it's somebody they work with, somebody that's over them, anything. If you are a male-centered woman, you're dangerous. And I pray for the people around you. And I pray that these women see who you are soon enough, early enough, before they really get got. Because you bitches is almost just as bad as men, if not worse. Give me 1 second though. So, male-centered women, dangerous as fuck. Any woman that does prioritize a man over themselves, what you think they'll do to you, babe? And that goes in workplace, friendships, relationships, intimate relationships. And I'm not even saying that women need to be women-centered. Bitch, be you-centered. I don't know, bitch. Like, have a backbone, something. So it's painstakingly clear to me she's gonna protect Bradley in all of this. I end up finding out about the conversation that Lena and Bradley and Harper had. And the thing is, you literally put the victim in the same room as the predator, and you asked her to say, okay, what you said about him? How was you cool? You knew you wasn't supposed to do no shit like that. The fuck be wrong with bitches? Like, that situation still pisses me off to this day. Because it didn't have to be like that. It really didn't have to be like that. So, When we finished, we basically ended like, don't talk about personal work at work. I mean, don't talk about personal things at work. That was the verdict. That was the reprimand. So you've said that it was gossip. You've said that it was basically hearsay. And because Marcus was not able to say, oh no, I watched him ask her this, or I watched him touch her, or watched him do this to her. But we're looking at how she's reacting to the things that he's asking. He may not have heard the words that came out of his mouth, but we do know the shit that came out of his mouth Lena didn't like. Lena wasn't comfortable with. So yeah, there's that. So that was on Thursday. All of that happened on Thursday. Yeah, all of that happened on Thursday. I told her. She asked Jamal how to handle it. And then her and the harasser, the predator, the dirty nigga, the wrong nigga, he comes. Those two conduct meetings with the victim and the two other people that's supposed to know. And they tell us, they basically bullied Lena into saying, oh, my bad, I just misunderstood. They bullied her into that shit. They got Marcus sitting up here backpedaling and pussy popping, which I get that, bitch. I get that. I'm not irritated with him about that. I will say Marcus is messy. Like, this was the first instance where I guess you could say he was being messy, but he really was concerned. Now, there's going to be other shit I tell you about Marcus. Y'all going to be like, oh, Marcus is a messy little bitch. Because Marcus was, and probably always will be a messy little bitch. But yeah, girl. So that's basically what the first thing where I was like, oh, y'all on bullshit here. Y'all on bullshit here. I don't like it. I don't think that I really want to be a part of it. Walked away from that situation feeling like I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So now, just because that happened does not mean I did not continue to try and fight for people. It does not mean that I don't continue to. I'm as fair as I can be. Hold on, my nigga calling me. Hello.
Hey, baby.
Hi. I love him so much. Love that man. I love that autistic man. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the end of that story. Forgot to say. So that was on Thursday, right? All that happened on Thursday. On Friday, hear me once. On Friday, girl, I get to work. I'm not working operations on Fridays. I'm sitting down. I'm setting up my laptop, baby. I'm setting down my water cup. I'm setting my cup down. I'm getting cozy in my spot, right? I got my baby. I got my sweater because it's not cold outside, but it's cold inside. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna wrap it up real tight, right? Tell me why I receive an email. Tell me why I get a 1 week notice email from Lena.
Bruh.
The thing that I was terrified of when Marcus first came to me, what I thought he was first alluding to, ended up coming true any fucking way. They bullied this girl into saying it was fine. Her mind, her heart, and her soul were not fucking fine. Here's the thing. I totally understand her leaving. I applaud her for leaving at the time she left. I applaud her for leaving the way that she left. I also applaud her for not giving us a 2 week notice. Because, bitch, I still think the 2 week notice is bullshit. Because don't worry about what I'm about to do after this. Also, leadership be fucking funny when it comes to that 2 week notice. You can't really reject somebody's 2 week notice, or you could say, no, I don't accept this. But bitch, when I'm ready to leave, I'm gonna leave. So when she got that 1 week notice, babe, I said, bitch, I'm jealous of you. It was no, I'm mad. It wasn't. I was disappointed that this shit happened in the first place. I was disappointed that we had a situation in the first place. I was not at all mad at her for doing what she needed to do for herself. Getting the fuck up out that bitch. Because when it comes to your mental health, mama, fuck this job. So then she comes and tells me, she was like, did you know that she worked at 3 other chicken spots? And this is our restaurant was her 4th one. And I was like, no, I had no idea. My thing is, why the fuck would I know that if the girl been working there since before I got here? Why would I know that? Why would I know that shit? So she said that, and I was like, oh, I had no clue. She was like, from now on, so y'all talking shit about it, but apparently when the girl applied, when y'all interviewed this girl and hired this girl, you didn't check. You didn't do your job. Interesting, but not surprising, bitch, because you ain't done your job since I got here for real. Beside the point. So there was that. And so the girl, she ends up quitting anyway. Lena ends up quitting anyway. I hated it, but I totally, I was upset, but when I say overstood why, please get the fuck out of here. Because if it was me, bitch, if I was Lena, I'd hate to have to slap Bradley's ass upside his little lopsided, nerdy looking old ass head. Here's the thing. The thing about Bradley is young. Let me also put this into perspective for you. Bradley, only 29. He looks 43. He looks like a hard ass 43. After this first incident, I understand exactly why you not aging well, bitch. Like, it's like you're so close in age that you should understand that the shit you're saying to me is crazy. Because if a woman was saying that to you, or if somebody else, if another leader was like, hey, Bradley, is you the man or the woman in your relationship? You'd be mad. But also, that's a valid fucking question. Which are you, the top or the bottom? But if we wanted to really deep dive into that, could we? Exactly. That's where you're gonna always lose me, bitch. It's never gonna be able to be the same, because even if he was talking about well, I thought we were cool, we're a part of the same community, you could say some bullshit like, we're a part of the same community. That don't mean shit, bitch. We're both a part of the same community when it comes to being black. If I ask you for your macaroni and cheese recipe and you don't got it, am I supposed to berate you because you don't make your own macaroni and cheese? You don't have a macaroni and cheese recipe? But we're black, so you should be able to answer that, right? Exactly. Just because you're queer does not mean you can go around being a fucking weirdo. Are you okay, nigga? Like, that shit really, it sends me there, because the whole situation was unnecessary, uncalled for, stupid. But it told me so much about this organization. I have to figure out what I'm gonna call it. I can't call it its real name. I'm gonna figure something out. But yeah, after she quit, the franchise owner, Mr. Jamal Caldwell, that's gonna be his name. Jamal, bitch ass, was like, he emailed all the executives and was like, why did she leave? And at the time, I was like, see, if he really knew the bullshit that was going on, and if he really knew everything that was going on, because of course they set up there and turned around and blamed it on her, blamed the whole situation on her for being not irresponsible, but being young and irresponsible. They was like, she was a bad hire, probably from the start, because he even asked, he was like, was it a bad hire or was it a good hire? Then she became a bad hire. Like, where did we go wrong? What happened? Why is our turnover rate so high? Which, bitch, y'all turnover rate gonna stay high. It's gonna stay as high as I'm about to get, bitch. And that's also gonna come up again, because we had these conversations in December. Had these individual meetings with him in December at the end of the year to talk about turnover rates. How do we help retention? What needs to happen? Some action items for executives, which you don't want me to tell you what I need them bitches to do. But that's gonna come up eventually. But this is just the first story I'm telling. Bitch, y'all just hire anybody at the USPL. Oh, bitch. Oh yeah, y'all just hire anybody to come bring the mail, honey. Cause that little nigga's ghetto that's the little YN bringing me my stuff, huh? You loud as fuck. So remember that title does not always equal integrity. Just because somebody is the director, vice president, owner, partner, operating partner, none of that shit means anything. Young man, them titles don't be meaning nothing. The titles mean nothing, especially if the title belongs to a fucked up person. It's nothing. When I say bitch, Bradley couldn't watch my TV for me. I don't trust that bastard, period. And nobody should. But Harper, that bitch is untrustworthy, dangerous, scandalous. It's so many other stories I got to tell y'all about these people because what? Again, your title does not at all equal integrity. Sometimes HR really is only here to protect the company and leadership, not the employees. And notice that I said sometimes, because most of the times that is the case. But the structure, the purpose of HR coming from headquarters, and we went to the headquarters, this is what they're telling us. They're knowledgeable of the fact that if we don't have frontline workers, we don't have anything. They can acknowledge that. They want to be their employees' favorite workplace. So they want people to come and never leave. They want people to come and not want to go. They want you to make sure that you're focused on job satisfaction, job clarity. Make sure people understand what they're supposed to do. Make it easy for people to do their jobs. That is what headquarters drills into our head every chance they get. That's the goal. Where it gets tricky is when you get to individual stores, when you get to individual franchises. That's when because it's now decisions are to the franchisee's discretion and his team. Power distorts accountability every day. It just looks different and in different situations. So here, the power distorted accountability for Bo, it completely was able to help. It allowed Harper and Bradley to escape without having to face any accountability. All because of the power. Which is why it is so important for you to focus on the culture as opposed to focusing on the job description. Because even when you're in these interviews, you can ask about the culture, but also when it's time to ask questions at the end of your interview, ask, what does a superstar look like in this role and in this environment? What does it look like to succeed? I mean, what does an overachiever look like? What does an overachiever look like in this environment? And it is just as important, if not more, to ask, what does a failure look like in this environment? What is something that would probably be expected of me that I couldn't have even imagined in the interview? Ask them for, what do you think will be the biggest curveball that I can encounter? You don't have to say that, but even if you word it like that, depending on the interview, the vibe of the interview, the vibe of the of your environment, you could say, what does a curveball look like? We can add anything to our policies on paper, but the culture, what you walk into every single day, that's what really matters. What's acted out, that's what really matters. What you experience, that's what actually matters. It goes so far past the policies that we able to just add to the handbook or the rule book or whatever it is that y'all have in your workplace. So yeah, because this was like my first like little peek into, oh, Miss Harper, you let shit go on as long as it's nothing legal. Like, had Lena went on ahead and quit and then turned around and sued you bitches, she would have won. They also like to brag on how Miss Harper can play lawyer, and she's helped Jamal, the franchisee, in 9 out of 10 employment cases. They were able to either have the case dismissed or it be ruled in their favor 9 out of 10 times. That's fine. That's cool. That's good. You have a 90% Things work out for you 90% of the time. Okay. But can we talk about why 10 people or 10 times you had to be sued? I know other companies, they're sued so much more. They actually have a dedicated lawyer. Like, I get it. But here, in this environment, you've been sued 10 times and she's helped you. She's been successful 9 out of 10 times. Can we talk about why you keep getting sued, sweetie? Stop doing bullshit. Also, another tidbit or another thing to keep in mind when you're reading the handbook, when you receive your handbook from any job, the job you work, the job you're applying for, the new job, actually read it. And I know I'm asking a lot. I know I'm saying a lot when I say read it, but there are certain contradictions and they word things a certain way in these handbooks so that when they do turn around and have to pull a page out of the handbook, they're able to use that against you in court and win. There are some sentences that are literal contradictions in the handbook. Those are on purpose. That is so that they're able to protect the owner, the company. Not because, oh, they just wrote that funny. No, that shit's on purpose. It's on purpose. So clearly that works in their favor. So sometimes you might really just lose, and sometimes it really might just beat your ass. Like, I don't know. Like, sometimes it might be. But a lot of the times, if you think that you're right and you think that they did you wrong, 9 times out of 10, they really did do you wrong. They probably did do you wrong. And you probably are the victim. But you proving that you're the victim, that's the hard part. And they set up things a certain way so that they're able to slide out on the back end and still be cool, still be good. So take that into consideration. This was my first instance of I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So yeah, that's my story. I have a number of other stories. This is just one story in that timeline. I will also have stories and lessons from when I was an educator in a great city of New Orleans, the best city in the world. Love it there. Will never teach there again. But I made good friends there, which I don't know. I say I made good friends there, but are people that you used to work with, if you don't still talk to them right now, were they really friends? Or was they really just the angels that you needed in that moment? Like, those are the people that you needed at that time in your life. Because I may come back, I may not. And if I don't, you have an amazing fucking day, babes. This is El Cool signing off. I love you guys.